Start your engine.
All right, welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News
with Scott Allen.
The best part.
The legend, who soon may be gracing the walls of the Verizon store at Farrell Parkway.
Well, we're gonna keep trying. So, Rick,
I mean, you
Verizon Wireless, you
didn't
give him a shout out.
You didn't kiss Rick's butt enough. He ought to get your hair.
Any thoughts on arena racing final race coming up? I know it's going to be a double points night, so that'll be kind of interesting. Double points on the last arena race. So Testerman's going to have to be he's going to have to at least finish 6th, I think, to sew the driver's points up.
Danny Millard. Scott Allen, you rock.
Danny, he needs glasses that says you suck.
Oh! Okay.
Says, hey, Jack.
I thought there was something going on here.
So he bounced back to finish a 3rd place with his usual 2nd place finish. Clayton.
Well, Clayton, don't worry about it. You did finish ahead of Scott. I won again, but you did finish ahead of Scott. But hey, you still ain't got to win yet. We'll see what happens this week. Let's get to talking about the news of the week before we get into everything else and having fun with everybody. How about Brandon Godovic is going to Spain to race in the NASCAR Euro Series for one race over there. That's a big deal for him, and
it's got to be pretty cool. I mean, I can imagine what the language barriers got to be like.
And hopefully next week we're going to have him on the show. I'm trying to get him on the show next week, so I don't even want to know. And Kyle Busch went down to
block Danny, I think.
Kyle Busch went down to Texas and swept Texas. I really think that guy's going to have a good career. I think he's
I think he's going to do okay.
I
felt bad for Truex. I thought Truex really had the car to beat, and him not coming down pit road and pitting on that next to last caution was the difference.
Well, Cole Pern got on the Facebook or Twitter or something Monday, and he apologized to everybody, saying, "Look, we should have pitted." And
and I thought that was
he thought he was going to pull something off there, and it didn't work the way he.
If the last caution wouldn't have come out, I think he would have pulled it off.
But I mean, is anybody going to win a race between now and this weekend besides Kyle Busch? Because you go to Bristol, Kyle Busch is going to be tough at Bristol too. So who's going to win? I mean,
Well, I mean, where isn't Kyle tough? I mean, that's a better question.
Kansas, he does not. Some reason he has the worst luck at Kansas. So I think that you need to stop watching that right now. See right there.
I know.
Danny Millard is in the middle of something there, and we don't need to be watching him.
Yeah. He said he loves the live feed. Tim.
Josh Williams won the ARCA race in Nashville this week. I think that's his first win, and so that was a big deal for him. And he's always been one of those guys that's been kind of running in the middle of the pack, and then he gets a big win like that. South Boston Speedway this weekend, the 2 late model races. Matt Boland won the first race. Austin Thaxton won the 2nd race.
And is Lee winless?
Lee is winless.
That's
this year, and he had another run-in with somebody this week down there. I don't forget who it was. Didn't particularly care what happened with him down there this weekend. He's going to Motor Mile this coming.
I seen he was testing Motor Mile earlier today.
He said hopefully mother, what is it?
I gotta quit looking at the feed.
You need to quit looking at it because every time you get me right in the middle of something, you stop and look at it.
Tell Chris we'll work on having Andrews for the truck series on. We'll have to get up with him and have him on the show.
Who?
The boy we talked to at a truck race didn't make Martinsville.
Jordan Anderson.
I was going to call him Brandon.
I've already talked to him. We're going to try to get him on in the next couple of weeks. Georgie Brunholzer won the Southern Modifieds. And who won the regular Wheeling Modifieds?
Timmy
Solomito. Timmy Solomito.
Yeah, however you say that.
Timmy Solomito. Hey. But anyway, and in our little game we play here with who win, I won again. That's my third win.
I think he'd won Daytona or something.
That was my third win of the year. You do have 4, but you know I'm in the chase. Clayton's not.
Yeah.
So, what other good things you got going on?
Not a whole lot. We're still waiting on an announcement from hopefully for Langley Speedway. It's been kind of quiet the last couple of weeks, which I mean, no news is good news in some ways.
I've been paying attention to that, and also the Southampton thing. Still nothing new there either, and I don't know if that's ever gonna. I mean, I don't. You know, somewhere sooner or later, somebody's got to say something. You know, either they're going to do it, like somebody backed them, somebody at Langley has taken Langley over, or there's not going to be something going on there. And you're still looking at that feed, man. And I'm looking at it now myself.
Clayton said he's still in the points, though.
Yeah, well.
And, you know, talking about some of those points, we were talking about Greg Alding. Here had a deal with
Kyle Busch
Motorsports to run. It was supposed to be like 5 or 6 races, I think, this year. And now that's sort of diminished, and now he's got 2 Xfinity rides with Roush at Bristol and Richmond.
Fall of the year, not
now. No, so that's.
I mean, how many? You know, it's kind of like.
I mean, he hasn't really done that much. He didn't race that much last year.
I don't want to put him in the same category because Elliott Sadler has won races. But it's kind of like the Elliott Sadler situation. How many more chances are you going to get? I mean, I put out on Facebook, how long will this one last? I mean, you know, I'm not really sure.
Until the fall, at least.
Well, I mean, he could change between now and the fall too. But I'm not trying to say nothing negative about anybody. But it's crazy. I mean, he had a deal, I thought, with Kyle Busch Motorsports, and I'm just wondering, you know, we got a little insights on stuff, but I mean, I don't understand what's going on with him.
Yeah, I don't know. But the race was pretty good. I think Kyle put a clinic on again on Saturday.
Oh yeah, there was no doubt about that.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday night.
And I was surprised to see those guys. They were showing on the pit stops where those guys only had 4 lug nuts on the left side. I would have thought, hey, let's put 5 on there, and if you miss one, okay. But if you miss one, you know, you're going to have to redo it, where you could just keep going and hit that 5th one and then leave one loose. But I guess almost everybody is kind of doing that now.
Everybody has gone
to look down. Quite a few of those didn't have 5 lug nuts on the left side tires. I wouldn't want to do that on the right side. I think you could go with 4. I think you could if you had to.
Mm-hmm. That's the reason why you can get a 10-second pit stop now. 10.9, you leave one lug nut completely off.
Well, that's 2 altogether that you don't have to do.
Yeah. So
Clayton says the 78 had Texas 1, and I think he did too. I think he had to race 1 until they didn't pit.
Yeah, they needed to pit, and then Cole Pern said that, you know, hindsight being what it is, he would have done it, but he apologized to everybody. He said he kind of let them down.
I'm surprised because as dominant as cars they had that stage in the race, he could have come. If he'd have fell back to 3rd or 4th, I think he could have chased the leader down at that point and passed.
At Texas, you noticed that the 2 tires didn't work.
Right.
So I mean, you had to go with 4 every time you got a chance to do 4, especially if somebody else comes up with 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I know no matter what, if the leader went in, probably some of them would have stayed out, but then you still had the 4 tires.
Well, and he thought there was going to be several cars not pit or take 2 tires, which would have given him a buffer, but once that second caution came out, that buffer would have been gone.
And Alan Gustafson with the 24, they did the 2-tire thing one time, and that didn't work at all for them because they kind of fell back a little bit, but then luckily enough, they got a real quick caution right after that, and they got 4 tires on, and at one point, they were strong. I thought they may very well.
I thought before that last caution came out, he was running second, I believe, and I thought he was going to have something for Truex there, not putting tires on. I think that kid's going to win a few races. I won't be surprised for him to win a race or two this year.
I think
and all of Hendrick Motorsports, I don't know what. I know they've been working on stuff because they've been off a tick.
Yeah.
But all those cars were extremely fast this weekend. They were all top 5 cars. I know they all finished in the top 10, even the 5 car. And I mean, that'll tell you something.
Well, I mean, so sooner or later you're gonna fall back a little bit, but then if you do a lot of testing, a lot of work on things, you can get back to where you were. And I think that's where they're trying to get back there. They've got to do something to get Casey Kane running better than he has been, and this week was a start. I mean, got to give it to him. A little bit of a something they needed, because Keith Rodden, I think he was pretty much on the outs with everybody, with not being able to do well. I think the Hendrick guys, well, the Hendrick hierarchy was probably looking at it real close, saying, look, hey, we can't keep that 5 car in the back like it's been doing. Yeah.
I don't know where.
At least it's not as bad as the situation with Clint.
And Clint Boyer.
That's really bad. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, and that's a sad situation for me to think that that guy, he can win races. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But he just does not have the equipment to do it with this year at all. So,
not at all.
H. Scott Motorsports, which is the old Phoenix racing team, they got a lot of work to do. And even though they're getting stuff from Hendrick, I think we've come to the conclusion that that's not what the point.
Yeah, they're getting some equipment, but I don't think they're getting technology and stuff. Mason says we have done more Southampton Motor Speedway investigating. No news. I mean,
I'm gonna give it to you just the way I see it. Okay, I might tick people off. I don't care, but
tick me off all the time.
Well, I don't care. But we were told that the night of the show that we had, we were going to find out stuff. We were going to find out who the investors were. We're going to find out all this. Well, that passed. The next week, she was on another show. Not going to call names, but on another show. Same thing was built up.
Fly-by-night place.
Yeah, fly-by-night operation over there. But same thing, and still nothing. We're now almost a month gone. Still no word on Southampton Speedway. Would like to see something. I'd like to see something come out. I know she put out something today or yesterday about a
Greg Edwards.
Hey, Greg.
Danny. Shut up, Danny.
But I know she put out something about some kind of circle track drag race or something she put out there.
Yeah, kind of like
that. And Dale Blankenship as the race director or something like that. But there's nothing been done at the racetrack.
Danny said you look cold. You turned the heat on. Yeah, she was trying to copy like a Wacky Wednesday at Langley Speedway.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
On Fridays at Southampton Motor Speedway. But tonight we got Brandon Brown, Truck Series driver this year, local guy, coming up here in a few minutes. Probably coming up right now.
Yep, this is him right here.
Call from 5403.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News with Scott Allen. Is this Brandon?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Brandon? How's everything up there?
It's good. A little damp, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's a little damp everywhere from what I understand. Now, what we're going to start off with, give us a little background about Brandon Brown. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, I guess I started out, I'm 22 years old, student at Coastal Carolina University, studying business management with a focus in marketing. Started racing like everyone else, mostly everyone else. Started running go-karts in King George, Virginia, and then moved up from there to go run the traveling dirt karting series. And from that, we stepped into a late model stock car at Old Dominion Speedway, or the late Old Dominion Speedway, and now made a jump up to the Camping World Truck Series.
Well, now, is it the team that you're driving for in the camper? Is it your family team, or what's the deal with that?
Yes, sir. It's been a family deal since day one.
Now, I know you got a good friend in Ron Devine over there that keeps up with your racing. Tell us what kind of influence he's had on you.
I mean, a lot. It's really cool when a big team owner will come over and just shoot you little pieces of advice here and there, especially being a real small time team, one truck team out of Northern Virginia, actually out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. So we're kind of out of the loop compared to all the other teams that are down in the Charlotte Concord area and Mooresville. So to have somebody with a lot of influence able to come over and help out where he can, it means the world to us.
Now, how many guys do you guys have working at the shop?
We have 3 full-time employees at the shop.
Now, how did it come about? You guys wanting to go into the truck series instead of trying to go to a team? Well, going to a team, but I mean, starting your own truck, that's a kind of a big,
Big step.
A big step.
Yeah. Well, actually, it kind of started because when we were running late models, we ran those about 3 or 4 years. Started traveling with it, ran South Boston Speedway, Motor Mile. Basically traveled everywhere I could run with. The big name guys like Tommy Lemons Jr. and Lee Pulliam and all of these guys. And after that, we wanted to make that next step, and we looked into running either ARCA or K&N. And so we started, doing online shopping and traveled down to Mooresville to come visit teams and, see what it would take to run a program. And, the dollar signs weren't much different than it would be to go run a truck. So, we just made the call to go ahead and run a truck.
Now, you've had some pretty good success so far this year. I mean, being a first time in the Camping World Truck Series, you've had some pretty good success. Tell us what it was like to be at Daytona for the first time.
I mean, it's a truly surreal feeling. It's something, it's just one of those things that when I watch it on TV, remembering watching on TV as a kid, seeing the super speedway. I mean, of course, you always looked for when the big one was going to happen, when was the wreck, and that's what you're excited for. And then when you're actually there, you're kind of like, well, I hope this is the year that it doesn't happen, But being there was just an amazing, it was a feeling. I felt really blessed to be there. But being on track, instead of looking around and all the huge grandstands and seeing the super stretch in the back and, reading Daytona on the board when you're actually on the track, it was, it was a little bit different than what I thought it would feel like. When you're running that rate of speed, the only thing that's on your mind is keep the truck straight, because anything else happens, you have no idea what's going to happen, actually.
Now, when you say you're from the Fredericksburg area, how hard is it for a team that's that far removed from the Charlotte area? How hard is it for you guys to work back and forth and get technology and stuff that you need, or equipment or whatever, from down in that area to help your team? How hard is that?
I mean, it's really hard because you don't really have, you don't have the in on all the new stuff getting ready to come out. So by the time something's out and regular there, we're just getting ready to hear about it. So it makes it harder to get the newest, latest, and greatest for the technology aspect. But it makes it difficult when you have to plan everything out ahead of time, like where teams normally can run and go take whatever they need inspected by NASCAR, fuel cans and pit equipment or cars in general. It makes it hard to get these parts and get trucks bodied and all that because it's not a 10, 15-minute drive. It's about 6.5 hours. So everything has to be planned accordingly, to save money with fuel and travel. And, it gets kind of hard, especially when I'm back at school. Usually I get sent down when I was home to make these runs to, keep as many guys in the shop as possible to prepare the trucks for the next event. So not being there it puts a damper on things because now we have to have 1 or 2 shop guys pull out of the 3 to go down to Charlotte and take a truck down or pick a truck up or drop off parts or pick up parts. And, we try to do as much as we can over the phone, but there's just a lot of things with racing that just have to be there.
Are you guys running the whole schedule?
Right now, that's kind of the question of the day. It's still in toss-up. Right now, the definites are we were running the first 6, and then maybe the last couple, like probably 3 more after that, because we didn't sign up to run for Rookie of the Year this year because we didn't quite know how we were going to do. Showing up to a super speedway for the first time, we didn't. It's not that we didn't have the utmost confidence in the team. It's just we just didn't know what to expect.
Sure.
So, no, I really hope, if we stay in the points contention like we are, then, I say we just go for it and, see what we can do.
Now, who around the racetrack do you go to for advice coming up to some of these racetracks that you've probably not gone to before?
Really, for me, I'm going to just about anybody and everybody.
Anybody that'll talk to you.
Some of the younger kids that I'm running against, they've run these tracks before, but it was in a K&N car or, an ARCA car. So you can kind of pick up, like, hey, what are the do's and don'ts, at least of the track? Because, of course, they're not going to tell you the big secrets and the lift points and all that because, they want to know. They want to keep that little advantage to themselves. But a person that's really actually helped me a lot is when I get to talk to Matt Kraft. He's been the most helpful person that I've gotten to talk to get advice for just about all the tracks.
Hey, we got a fan question. Dave wants to know, do you guys build your own chassis or do you buy them from other teams?
I wish we built our own chassis. Our chassis are used. All of them are. 2 trucks are 2010s, and then our Speedway truck would be the newest one, and it was a 2015. The 2 trucks we had before the 2010s are the old, who was it? Turner Scott Motorsports trucks. I think they used to be Ben Kennedy's trucks when he was running for them. And then our Super Speedway truck came from GMS.
Okay, that's all good equipment. They've done pretty well.
Oh, yeah, no, we've been really happy with the trucks that we have. It makes it a little more hard to compete when, they got, they're building trucks in-house for every weekend, and
right.
My truck's from 2010, so.
Now, how about from a team standpoint, does your team have any type of a situation where they have a team they could go to get information, like let's say a GMS or whatever?
Some technical support.
Yeah, do you have it, you can get some technical support from somebody?
No official teams. No one really, is someone that we can guarantee go to, and they have to give us a data sheet. But we have been getting help here and there. One team that's actually helped us a lot is another one of the, I wouldn't say smaller teams, but it's Tyler Young and his team,
right.
Young Motorsports. We've been able to bounce ideas off of them just, because they've been here and they know what it's like. So they've been actually very helpful with us, and so we're really thankful for that.
So is there a chance or a thought in the future of taking your team to the Mooresville area so that you could be in a part of that? I
guess really it all depends how we fare out, in this season and then possible to next. Of course we want to run strong, but we also do look to move up to trying to become an Xfinity team. For now, I think we're pretty much going to stay stationed in Fredericksburg, Virginia, just due to cost and trying to keep costs down so that we can keep running, and hopefully after we start running some full seasons, then we could start looking at moving down to the Mooresville area.
Or if you write him a check for some sponsorship, he'll probably move down tomorrow.
Give us a little, give us a little insight on the sponsors that you do have. I know you got some sponsors on your truck. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, right now, it's just we're just getting help from my school, Coastal Carolina University. They've been actually really, really helpful. More than I thought they would. That's a cool story in itself. Is just not expecting a school to really get behind my racing and stuff, but they did. So I couldn't be more thankful to them. And actually, we got to welcome on ABC Diesel's Diesel Shop Performance. They're out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. They're coming on for Kansas, and then that's really all we have on the books right now. I'd love to give a thank you to Encase It for helping us get to Daytona and Atlanta. They were a big help for that. It's too bad we couldn't continue, but I am thankful for the time that they did give me.
Well, that's good. I mean, at least you get a little bit of help there. You're doing really good with what you got. I mean, you ought to be really proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel that the team has done so far? I mean, I would say you got to get an A, because considering it's a new team, a small budget, I think you've done pretty well, to be honest.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I'm ecstatic, and I'm so proud of my team. We might be we have a lot of odds stacked against us, but they've persevered, and they show it basically comes down to their hard work. They're setting up the truck in house to try and give me the best opportunity possible, and I try to return the favor by putting a truck in a position that we could score these top finishes, and I couldn't thank them enough for everything that they do. Adam Brenner is the crew chief, and Lance Elliott's the car chief, and then we have shop help, Dakota Ward. They've been that's the heart and soul of the team. They keep our trucks chugging along, and they're finding speed where they can, so it really helps all the way through.
Well, Brandon, we appreciate you spending a little time with us tonight. We wish you the best of the luck for the rest of the season, and hopefully we'll get to see you somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Well, we appreciate your time, and we'll get you back on again real soon.
Oh, I'd love to.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right, have a good one.
You
Thanks,
too.
bud.
Thank you.
Overall, that with what they've got
Yeah.
to be where they are, unbelievable.
3 full-time guys jumping up from a late model to the
Camping World Truck Series.
Camping World Truck Series to run Daytona. And where were they at after Daytona? I think he ran 25th or it was a 22nd, 23rd place finish.
Just making Daytona was the thing for them. They were.
Oh yeah, how many trucks they had at Daytona? I forgot about that.
They were one of the last trucks to make it in. And
I mean, they had, God knows how many trucks. They had a lot of trucks there for a 30-car truck field. I mean, there was a lot of trucks that went home. I think was it 50? It was 40 something. It was a lot.
It was a lot of trucks. A lot of them went home.
So just to, like you said, yeah, I mean, just to make that race is a huge thing, and it's just a plus that he's a local guy. As we ended up meeting a lot of Virginia guys down there on the BK racing team, and the old BK management guys are all from Virginia.
Mm-hmm. And it's really cool that you also had Ron pretty much helping those guys.
Mm-hmm. All the local guys.
And you got another one we're getting ready to interview in just a minute, Ryan Ellis, that's from Northern Virginia, that now he's got a ride with Ron. Let's go ahead and give Ryan Ellis a call. Got another one of your questions up there.
Seems like a good young man. Yeah, I hope he does well. He does seem to be doing pretty well.
And Gary, I'll talk to you later.
Your audience is good.
Good evening. Is this Ryan Ellis?
Yes, it is.
How you doing? This is Jack Dodson with Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News with Scott Allen. How's everything going in your neck of the woods?
Hey, it's not too bad. How about you?
We're doing good. And it was good to talk to you down at Martinsville with all the new stuff going on with you. Give everybody a little give us a little heads up about what's going on with you and your new ride.
Yeah, so we're going to be driving the number 93 Science Logic Toyota Camry for BK Racing and events this year that we know of for sure. Hopefully going to do closer to 5 to 7, but all we have on paper right now is the Spring Richmond, Indianapolis, and then the Fall Texas race. So, I mean, you know, that's more races than I've ever had guaranteed in my life at any point. So I'm just kind of happy to have any races on paper, and then kind of work towards something much bigger, obviously.
And you're still doing some of the Xfinity stuff too, right?
Yeah, I'll be doing Xfinity off and on. Same with the truck series. It kind of comes and goes depending on what's happening with different teams, different weeks. Last week I think I found out about the ride 24 or 36 hours before we were supposed to be there. So it's a little bit more touch and go over there, and just hoping for a lot more track time. But definitely focusing all of our sponsorship and definitely like my driving on the Cup side, making sure I make the most out of those opportunities.
So how did it come about to go with BK Racing? I mean, did you look at them and say, hey, that's a place where I can get the best bang for my buck? Because, I mean, he has a pretty good program over there. I mean, he's outrunning some teams that have a lot bigger budget over there.
Yeah, I think Ron likes to call it a mid-tier team. They have a small budget, one of the smaller budgets in the Cup Series.
Mm-hmm.
But they're performing like a middle-tier team right now. It's definitely the best year that I possibly could have chosen to join BK Racing, and I think I've always been bugging Ron for probably 4 or 5 years now to get an opportunity with BK, and just being that we're both from Northern Virginia, and it kind of all fell together perfectly this year. We have a Northern Virginia sponsor with us in Science Logic, and Northern Virginia driver and Northern Virginia team owner. So although, that didn't really play into the final decision there, it just made so much sense. Ron's a good family friend of mine, and he definitely had the best opportunity available. We didn't want to go out there and ride around at the back of the pack, so we wanted to make sure that I could go out there and look good, because I'm not going to get too many opportunities, so I want to make sure that I can prove to Ron and the other guys in the garage that I belong there.
Right. Now, did you do your contract with Ron at the Steak and Shake? It seems like all the big contracts are at Steak and Shake, he said.
Yeah. One of my fraternity brothers back from George Mason University actually works for Science Logic, so quite often I'll get a text or an email from someone just saying, hey, my boss or my friend's cousin or my ex-wife's brother's dog might be interested in sponsoring you, and you just kind of have to say, oh, okay, I'd love to throw something together, and you just treat them all the same, and you work on them as if they all have a 100% chance of working out, but, I probably built 1,000 proposals I've said a no, and this one just happened to all fall together correctly, and not only did Science Logic say yes, but obviously they tripled their investment from last year, and I think they have the possibility to do much more next year. So we just got to keep blowing them away and showing them that there's a lot of business potential in NASCAR, because I think a lot of other companies have already seen that.
I got to say one thing, Ryan. I kind of keep up with you in a lot of ways, but I got to say you're always at the track. You're always around and doing certain things to put yourself out there. how does that work for you? That you got your 1 week you may be in this Xfinity car, the next week you may end up being another one.
It definitely fills up my dresser drawers pretty quick. I got tons of hats and shirts from every race team on that side of the garage. But yeah, it's nice because I'm at the track nearly every week I can be there. Just trying to network and find a ride for the next week. And when you don't have family money or you don't have a family-owned company that can sponsor you, you're kind of looking for a way to differentiate yourself. You got to say, hey, I got to find something that these team owners can respect or that they can look up to or a reason to put me in the car. And for them, or for me, I just have to outwork other people. I have to make sure that when these team owners go, hey, who's not driving this week or who should we put in the car? I'm the first person they think of. The whole phrase out of sight, out of mind is so applicable in our sport that if I weren't at the track every week, I know for a fact I wouldn't have nearly half of the opportunities I do. So it's a risk to go to the track every week just financially, get the money together to even get there, obviously. But it's 100% worth it. And I've missed 2 races that I can think of off the top of my mind over the last 2 years, and both of them were races that I could have raced if I had just been there. So I'm at 35 or 36 a year, and I missed 2, and those are 2 I could have raced both years.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. Now, you're going to be running. Is this going to be a third car for BK Racing?
Yes, it'll be the number 93.
Who's going to be your crew chief on that car?
Mike Ford. I just found that out today, for sure, and walked into the shop and said, hey, you definitely doing this? And he said, yep. So couldn't ask for anybody with more experience than that. He's been all up and down the sport, and it's really, really cool to work with someone that smart. And I got to look up to him and rely on him. I know as a driver, he's going to be asking me a lot of questions, but I'm going to say, hey, what would you do if you've heard this before? And he's been there, so he can probably tell me what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you definitely have a wealth of knowledge right there to help you with that, because he's one of the few that that's been around for a while that knows what's going on.
Yeah, Ron didn't give me any excuses, so it's all on me now.
And I'll talk about Ron for a second. Ron is one of those guys that seems to have he has a clear-cut way of doing things. He knows how he wants it done, but yet he seems to be a guy who really likes what he's doing, and he likes the people he's got working for him.
Yeah, he's a family guy. If you were to meet him outside of the racetrack, you would just think he was a normal guy, and you would never think he was a team owner. Some of the team owners obviously are very successful businessmen, and they expect you to look up to them and this and that. But Ron's a guy that you go out to dinner with, you can grab drinks with, you hang out with him. He's just a good guy, and it's really nice to work with him. He's been a family friend of ours, and for a long time now, and he helps out young drivers. I know he's sponsoring the Southern National Late Model Series right now. He sponsors a few kids coming up through the ranks, and he's helped me here and there. So he has a heart of gold, and it's really cool to work with someone like that.
Yeah, and two, I know we talked about when we were there at Martinsville, the knowledge he has about race cars. It kind of surprised me when he was telling, I don't know if it was the car chief or the crew chief, if they were going to split the difference on the rear end. He's like, you need to go one hole. He's like, you need to go two. I was kind of surprised of because most team owners don't know that much about a race car as much as he seems to.
Yeah, and that's one thing that it's nice because Ron knows it. But sometimes he'll either wait for someone to tell him just to see just kind of test him. But he'll never put his never put his word in where he doesn't think it should be. He'll let other people do their decision because that's why he's hired them.
Right.
So he knows when the right is wrong and he lets them learn their mistakes. But he's not overly involved, which I have seen many team owners and other management personnel get overly involved in things that they shouldn't have their hands in, or they just have their hands in too many things to the point that it gets a little bit confusing. But Ron is really good at being a team owner and managing staff and making sure that everybody's in the right place at the right time. And even though he knows the right answer, sometimes he's good at taking a step back and making sure everybody's doing what they should be doing.
Now, will this be your first trip to Indy to run the race?
Yeah, I ran Grand Am 3 years there, but that's going the opposite direction and a whole different track, really. So it'll be really, really cool, and I know it's a challenging, fast track with a lot of history behind it. So it's going to be hard to learn. It's a tough track. So I just got to get on it early and see what happens.
Now, Ryan, go back a little bit and tell us a little bit how you got started in racing. And I know you're from up in Northern Virginia. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was born in California and grew up watching my dad race Formula Fords and other types of SCCA racing. And my grandfather raced back in the 1940s and 50s and was killed in a racing accident in 1958, the same year my dad was born. So it's pretty crazy that we actually continued in racing, not only to this level. I mean, so I got a car, or like my first race car was a quarter midget when I was about 4 years old, and worked my way up through Legends cars and late models, and then over to the Grand Am Road Racing Series, where I kind of made a name for myself and almost won the championship. I think we finished third my first year, won Rookie of the Year, and then got a few opportunities on the circle track side and tried to make the most of them, and pretty much been grinding it out for the last 3 or 4 years, trying to make enough money to get by and try to make a name for myself.
Well, I think you're doing a good job with that. You're spending a lot of time doing the right things, and you're hooked up with a good guy right now in Ron Devine. So I think you got your head on straight with that.
Thank you very much. It's kind of hard to take a step back and realize how far you've come in a few years, but like I said, last year I made my first Cup start. 2 or 3 years ago, I hadn't even made a Trek or Xfinity start. So this year I'm able to do at least 3 and hopefully turn that around into more opportunities next year.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you down at Richmond. We're going to be at Richmond, and we're going to come by and hang out with you a little bit. And good luck to you there. We want to see you. We want to see you do well.
Oh, thank you very much. It'd be cool to talk around into a few more races this year.
Yeah, hey, we'll try to talk to him too. He's awful good to us when we go by there. Maybe we can sweet talk him a little bit too.
Yeah. See what you can do. Get the show on the race car a little bit. See if you can work a few different things.
Hey, Ron, we got one fan question. He wants to know, did you do any dirt racing?
Yeah, I grew up running quarter midgets on dirt for 7-8 years, fighting with actually Justin Allgaier for championships in Reed Sorensen. And 2 years ago, I made my return to dirt, as I say. It's been 7-8 years, and I ran the Chili Bowl, and that was crazy. I'm definitely going to do that again, but it was just different. I hadn't ran a midget ever, and then to go back and run the hardest dirt race in the United States is pretty crazy. There were 200 cars there, I think, and we didn't do too bad. Finished in the top 100, and I'd never driven a midget. We got 2 laps to practice, so I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I bet so. Well, Ryan, we appreciate your time tonight. We'll see you up at Richmond. We're going to get you back on here again, and good luck to you up there, and we'll be pulling for you.
All right, thank you very much, guys, and thanks always for having me on the show.
All right, man, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right, talk to you soon.
I think our Facebook Live went out. I had to check the settings. I think it just goes to sleep because I'm not touching the screen, so I have to change that. I think that's what's going on.
Oh, it goes to sleep on you.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think he's going to be in a good situation with BK Racing and running that third car. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's no slouch. That car is no slouch. I mean,
no, it's not. And that's a good crew chief over there he's talking about.
He's got one of the best. I mean, all right. Well, here's our
call from 903.
Good afternoon and welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News with Scott Allen. Is this Bob?
Hey, Jack.
How's it going, man?
Not bad.
Well, good. Well, we're really happy to have you on the show tonight. Always been keep up with that 95 car. Always liked it, and tell us a little bit how you got started in racing to get to the point where you are now.
Well, I
1978. Gee, that really tells my age there. But I was hired by DuPont and moved to South Carolina. And when you're in the Carolinas, I was from Florida, you just go to the races. And back then, to go see Richard race and all the Cale Yarborough and all those guys race, my wife and I, Sharon, we lived in Camden, South Carolina. We'd go to Darlington and Rockingham and Charlotte, and really enjoyed the adrenaline rush. And you fast forward, we moved back to Florida and then out west to start our own business, and kind of got away from racing. And then my daughter, I have one daughter, one child. She really kind of got me back into it because I think around 2000 or so, she started following this young driver. What was his name? Oh, Jimmy Johnson.
Oh.
He was a rookie, and Melinda, said, I really like this guy. I said, well, we'll see. And obviously, it kind of speaks for itself what he did, but little by little, we started getting back into it and watching it, and got into doing some. I bought 4 Formula cars, road course cars that we put in a Crescent Motorsport Park down below Fort Worth, and myself and my daughter, and my grandson Michael, who works for our team now, he's won Baylor at the time, and my daughter, we'd go over and drive on weekends. So we kind of really like driving and competing. And in 2001, my wife gave me a driving experience at Texas Motor Speedway with Team Texas Ike Star. And I just fell in love with it. I would go over and take lessons from Mike because I really enjoyed that car. He would let me out on the track, gave me lessons, and I probably got close to 1,000 laps at Texas Motor Speedway.
Wow.
And then met David Starr, liked David. We sponsored him in a couple of truck races, and been in a nationwide COT race in Daytona, and was trying to help David get a cup ride, and was having difficulty with that. And one Sunday, my wife and I were coming back from the lake to our house, and I said, I think may just start a pickup team.
Wow.
And kind of stupid.
I can't believe she said
really
yes so
was.
quickly.
Looking back on it, it was like, whoa, what in the world were you thinking? And I went up and talked to Richard Childress and Jack Roush. Friends of mine helped me get appointments and talked about just starting up a team, buying race cars from them, and engine program with Doug Yates, and it just at that juncture worked out before we did Fords. And the first year I put David in our car for 8 races because I had never been in racing.
Yeah.
So I knew absolutely nothing except what you learn on television. And that isn't always good stuff, what you learn on television.
Yeah, that's not.
We started there, and we were blessed. That January of 2011, we made the deal. We didn't get our first car from Roush until like March for the April first weekend race. New owner. We had only a couple of cars. Found some guys. Found a shop rented from Rick Crawford, which we bought this past year. We went and backed off the hauler at Texas Motor Speedway and actually made that race our very first try.
Wow.
And so it started there.
And look where you're at now.
I'm not sure we're a whole lot better, but you know what weekend it is. We're certainly giving it a go.
Well, Bob, one of the things about your team is, you've kind of built it up as you went along, and then this year with the charter coming and you teaming up with Joe Falk and everything, that had to be a little bit of a relief to you. But what do you see down the road coming as because of that charter? Do you think that's going to be a big deal for you?
You know, that it's tough because we had a 5-year plan of building it up from scratch, because in reality it was me who was learning about racing, because I had good people working for me, but I wanted to know about it and learn the business and do it gradually and just not jump in and lose everything we had. And so we had a plan, but fortunately or unfortunately, the charter came about, and we were very similar to the Woods brothers, Eddie and Lynn, that we hadn't run full-time schedules, so we weren't in the mix for a charter. So we were hurt on that respect. And 2016 was going to be our first full-time year, and we were fortunate that I had visited with Joe as the year went on and was able to work out a deal where we joined forces to get that charter, because the charter, obviously, because the purse, it's very difficult to do what Lynn and Eddie Woods are doing with the Woods brothers.
Yeah.
To run full time outside of the charter.
Right.
It's very difficult. They're fortunate because of their long-term relation with Ford and Edsel Ford, and that's a great relationship. Those are two of my best friends in the garage, and so they're making it work. But we looked at it with our sponsorship that we had built up little by little. We needed, a certain amount in order to go 36 racing, and that's what we were able to do with Joe, because he brings a lot of experience, a whole lot more than I had. So we had the shop and the people and the infrastructure, and he had the charter and his experience. So that itself was a real blessing. And going down the road, we look at it as hopefully that partnership will continue, because it's been good so far.
Now you also have you having a kind of a relationship with Richard Childress and his organization. How does that help you out as far as your equipment and stuff?
It's been another tremendous blessing, because we had 3 things really paramount that happened. We met with Richard in late November, early December, talked about switching over to Chevrolet and joining their organization. The 78 car had left, and so that left a opening for a technical alliance with Richard. And I talked to Richard and Mike Dillon about 6 years ago when we first got into it. It just didn't work out this time, but now we were able to get in that technical alliance with them because they had room for us. We then had to make the manufacturing switch, with them help, because they make the chassis, and so that helped us in itself. So that was probably between Joe and going to Richard, the 2 things that's really helped step up our program, and then us committing to that and putting more money into it than we had anticipated, because we really wanted to have another year of running 36 races, which means you're staffing up more, before we got into a technical alliance, because it's the information that if you buy what I call the full meal deal that Richard offers to us, you get a lot of information, but you got to have the people that takes advantage of that information. It's surrounding yourself with good people.
That's true.
And
I never thought of it like
so
that.
not only did we switch manufacturers, we went from a 22 races a year to 36 races a year, and then we went and increased our knowledge, let's say, in our engineering and technical alliance. So we had our hands full. So it was very challenging. We didn't get our first cars until January.
Now,
And then,
Now with the deal with Richard Childress and bringing Ty in, how does that has that helped elevate your team with bringing Ty over there and working with you guys?
Yes, it really has. Hopefully it helps Ty because a lot of family really likes it. And that was one of the reasons we agreed to it. Start with is he just represents our family very well. He's a great family, young man. So Richard and Mike and Austin, but he fits what we stand for. When we run those races, our people are integrated with his people, so it has helped ourselves, our crew chief and our engineer, work with Ty. So that integration has really helped our people be trained better. They're in our shop, we're in their shop. So it really has helped the overall program.
Now, how did you get together with Michael McDowell? I mean, he's obviously done a good job, and it really hasn't got that really big break, but I think he does a really good job for you guys, and obviously is a great person.
Yes, it was probably our second year. His second year, we changed the drivers from David Starr to Scott Speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was becoming a little more familiar with the garage, and Michael and I started visiting, and we shared our common faith, and he would hang around, and when he was driving the 98 car then. Mm-hmm. And after 2 years with Scott, I knew we wanted to, again, change our program and step it up, and Michael and I had talked. In fact, we interviewed 4 different drivers, really good quality drivers, and I think there was like 8 of us, my wife, my daughter, my grandson, myself, crew chief, our VP of marketing, brought him in over a couple of days and visited with him, and he just met all the criteria we needed. Start with, his character was great, good driver, solid driver, needed what we considered an opportunity we'd hoped to give him, because he had driven again for a lot of small teams similar to ours, but we thought we would elevate our program and give him a chance to move on up. And he's a very talented young man, and he will drive as good as the equipment that we've given him, and we've been able to now this year give him better equipment, and little by little we're making, as we call them, baby steps. Mm-hmm. And giving him an opportunity, because he has a lot of talent. Any of those young drivers who are driving in the Cup Series and Xfinity, they got the talent. It's just a matter of getting the brakes and getting the right equipment.
I mean, you couldn't have got a better guy, because every time I've ever been around him, he's always got a smile. He's always happy, and he's appreciative of what he's got. Yeah. And I tell you, you can't find a better guy to drive have as a driver.
No, and that was one of the things that really, my wife would see him in the garage, 2 or 3 years before we hired him, he would always stop, kids come up to him, bend down, sign him, shake their hand, get on their level and talk to him. And that's what we really like, is that the young people in our sport, we need them, and the access that, he gives, and we hope to also bringing them in and talking to them and giving them an experience in the garage when we're able to do that. So that was paramount, that he's always got time for the fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he represents any sponsor well.
Absolutely. Our K-Love and our Private Financial is really excited about Michael, and that, again, ties in with Private Financial, which is a faith-based full-service financial company. They got insurance, annuities, and IRAs, and counseling. So they've been a real blessing to us. They love Michael. He goes and speaks. He was at their convention and spoke. They have people at the track all the time. K-Love Radio, Christian Radio. They have 4 races, I believe, a year with us, and they're out in California and Redding, and so they're our primary for the Sonoma race, and so it's worked out well with our sponsors, with Michael and those relationships.
And now with the RCR Technical Alliance, what all do you get from Richard? Do you guys get a complete car from those guys, or do you guys just get a chassis and hang your own bodies? How deep is the alliance?
It's whatever we want, feel we can handle. The only thing we're not doing now, because right now we're getting the bodies hung on the chassis, and then we do repairs to them. We put all the components on, and we do all the car putting together. Because our fab shop, we have 3 people in our fab shop, and we can do from the greenhouse down on repairs and those things. But to hang a full body, because of the preciseness that's required in the body scans, we're not there yet. So we're getting them where the chassis and body is hung, and then we put on all the components. So we could get it at whatever level we want it at, but we're building our people, and we have a full crew that gets cars ready for the traveling crew. And again, this is our first year doing that, and at 3 o'clock this afternoon, we had a meeting in the shop going over those, where we've come since we started at Daytona and made the West Coast tour, and then back here in Texas, and then fixing to go to Bristol this weekend, and to look at what we've done well, what we haven't done so well, where we need to go, how we need to step it up, and not being satisfied with those things that we have accomplished.
Now, do y'all share all setup information on the weekends with the 31, the 3, and all the guys, I guess the 47?
Yes, sir. That's been a big help. Like I said, again, we have the information that we need. It's just a matter of us being able to implement and put it in. Dave Winston's our crew chief we hired this year. He's working with Michael. So as you know, that relationship is really the key of how well you do. Because it takes more than equipment, and that's one thing we said today. We've got the equipment now, finally, and now we just got to get the communication process and those relationships to fine tune and make us go better and make us go faster. So yes, we get those, and we can see what changes they're making at the track and where we're starting at and the difference, and so that's been a big help.
All right, we got a fan question. He wants to know, will you have any other drivers in the car this year, or is it a wait and see thing?
No, it will just be Michael and Ty.
Michael and Ty. Now, how many races does Ty have?
6 potential. We gave them option. I think they've got 5 written in, but we gave them an option of potential of 6. And some of those races, and I know it will be in Homestead, if that race comes to fulfillment with Ty running the 95, then we'll run the 59 with Michael. And it's again like we did at Daytona.
Now, any time that Ty is running the 95, Michael will be in the 59?
Potentially. It depends on if we got a sponsor for that race.
Okay.
Because that's how it worked out. That's why it worked out well for us. And Richard, them, between Thrive and Caleb, that's 30. We have 30 races, so
that's pretty good.
So that gives them a potential of 6 if they want them. If they don't, then we'll run them ourselves without a sponsor. Because you just got to, with the charter, you got to run the 36 races.
Right. But still to be a small team and just starting out, 5 years in and have 30 races sold this year, that's pretty good.
Jeremy Lang, our VP, and Don Smile, and our guys in the marketing, they've done well, and Thrive, in fact, came on it with us last year, and the year prior to that. They did 1 race as a test race in Bristol. So they liked it, and that they're building their program little by little, kind of like us. They've never been in racing, and they're a Fortune 500 company. And so to us, it was exciting that company of their size would pick us to do that trial.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of cool because I think we finished like 19th, so that was pretty good for a top 20 race for our team.
Yeah.
And Private liked it and liked the results, so they've stepped up the program, and they're either a primary or associate for all 30 of our races. And then K-Love is 4 or 5 races, I believe. So we've been blessed in that case also with our partners.
Well, you got a good operation there. We really appreciate the fact that you put a lot of effort into it, and you built it slowly. And with all the help you're getting, you got a chance to do some big things there in the near future.
It's still, there's no weak link in the Cup Series. You know, this year it has really stepped up. Everybody has really stepped up. And part of that may be the charter. You know, I think that was one of the things that NASCAR was hoping, that the charter would make people either, for lack of a better term, get in or get out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been really good racing. And so you know, our goal was to be better. And so we've been fortunate to do it little by little, but everyone out there is getting better every week, so it's more challenging to keep up with everybody. So it's not leaps and bounds, it's baby steps, and you know, running in the top 25 and getting there and solidifying, because if you run in the top 25, you beat some really good cars.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, it isn't like, well, we're top 10, top 15. Now, you know, people don't see top 25 as being, they're kind of middle of the pack. Well, these are all professional people out here. You know, they're just not guys that come in on the weekends. Everybody in that garage is a professional. They're there because they're the top in the field. And, you know, we feel fortunate when we run in the top 25. You know, in Martinsville, we're 24th. And so to us and our small team is building, that's the win for us. So that shows progress.
Now, Bob, do you travel to all the races? Or are you there every week? Or
I missed Martinsville because my construction firm, my general manager had back surgery. I was back there for over the Easter, and then I stayed another week, so I missed Martinsville. I drove 15 hours on the road yesterday after Texas to get back to the shop, so I'm here at the shop for the next 3 weeks. Then I'll drive to Bristol, drive to Richmond, then drive back to Talladega. After Talladega, my wife flies in here. She's going to ride down to Talladega with me. We'll go back home, get on an airplane, fly to Kansas. So we're going as many as us old people can stand.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to run into you at Richmond and have a chance to talk to you there, because we really enjoy being a part of that down there, and we really enjoy you having a team that it seems to be on the upswing.
Well, we appreciate your support and appreciate being able to chat with you.
Well, we appreciate you spending time with us tonight, and we thank you a lot for taking that time out. And especially after you told me you were going to be traveling back from Texas, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to be awake for us to do that.
Yeah, it will be now pretty close shutting down. I think I got to bed about 12:30 last night, but we're all good. And I just appreciate y'all asking us on.
We appreciate it. We'll get you back on real soon. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you. He's a cool guy. I mean,
yeah, it was interesting. Just out of the blue, I didn't know he didn't really know a whole lot about racing, and then just jumped into the Cup Series, sponsored a couple of races, and just jumped full board. Because I remember when he bought that team because I think Roush tried to run it the first 5 races, and they were hoping they would get some sponsorship, and then he ended up taking it over.
I mean, what a contrast! I mean, a contrast from Scott Speed to Michael McDowell.
Two different ends of the spectrum.
I wanted to ask him that, and then I got to thinking, no, that's probably not a good question to ask. Because let me tell you something about Scott Speed. That is a different character. Okay, I've seen him at Richmond, and I've talked to him. He's
He's
a
wide open.
He's a little bit different than the people we know.
He is.
He's more on a Danny Millard.
Yeah. I don't know how his wife puts up with him. I mean, he is crazy. Krista wants to know, will we be at the race at Saluda Saturday? No, I don't think so. Jack's got a funeral to go to.
I'm gonna be involved with had a friend of mine whose father passed away, and we're gonna be hanging around here for that. But no, I probably won't be there for that. And it's gonna be bad because I really want to be there. So you need to keep us informed. And there's Dave Millard.
This Facebook Live is working out pretty good. I think my sleep thing is shut down. That's why the camera went dark. But we'll get that fixed up for next week, and we'll set the timer to go for like an hour or so. That's working out pretty good. All right, what we got planned for next week? Do you know yet?
Hopefully Brandon Gondovic is going to be with us next week. Chad Fincham. Is Chad Fincham.
Okay.
He is a normal. He is a late model driver from out in the western part of the state. I think he ran at like Kingsport and some of those places out there. But Eric McClure has stepped back out of the Xfinity series and has started a K&N series team with 2 drivers.
Okay, yeah, I did see that.
And Chad Fincham is one of those drivers. And I'm just going to get him on to talk about his new thing he's got, because he's really excited about it. And plus, the next week we'll be at VIR for the...
No, the following we'll be at Richmond.
Well, this week after that we'll be at VIR with the K&N series.
Old people problems.
I ain't going to go there now. All right, well,
thanks, Dave.
I ain't gonna say that. Speaking of picks, go ahead and give us yours.
Oh, I go last? First?
You're first because you were last time.
We're in Bristol. I'm going to go with the 4-car.
All right, you said Clayton wants the 19.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Well, I'm going to surprise all y'all.
I don't know if you can surprise us.
I'm gonna surprise all y'all, because I'm gonna go with I'm gonna ride this one out. I'm going with Kyle Busch.
Oh, what a dark horse you're going with there. Going out on a limb there. Don't fall off.
I really think that, down in a few years, Kyle Busch is gonna be a heck of a race car driver.
What did Clayton say? Said I'll jinx the 19 this week, probably. He's due for a win. You're right, he is due for a win. Although he hasn't really...
He ran decent the other night. I mean,
yeah, he did, but he hasn't been consistent as the other cars.
Yeah, he kind of
I'm surprised Matt Kenseth hasn't run as well either, surprisingly.
I think he's got Logano-itis. Because he's still...
I don't know. I think he stuffed that Logano-itis up on the turn 4 wall at Martinsville. After
that situation at Martinsville, he's had a hard time getting himself back into... He's run decent, but he just hasn't been able to finish it. So
yeah, surprise. So
anyway, what even surprise?
Well, he said surprised.
Anyway, that's what our hopes for next week. We're going to get Brandon on here. I think that's really cool that he's going to Spain. I think he's going to Spain Richmond race weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think he posted earlier like 8 or 9 days to go. Now Danny wants to jump. Danny Myler wants to jump in now.
So I think that'd be cool. And then we'll have Chad on here, and I'm trying to hook up a couple other people, but I haven't got any.
Trying to hook up with a couple people?
No. See, there you go. All right, time to go. It's been a great show.
Yeah.
We'll see you.
Thanks, guys, for the Facebook Live.
And we'll see you next week.